Hello dears, Natalie Luck here, and this video is actually not flash fiction if you didn't get the title right away. This is the Authortube Newbie Tag 2.0 as originally done by Jenna Streety back in June of 2019 when I didn't even join YouTube until July, if I remember correctly, July of 2020. So I've been on YouTube for over a year now. Kind of took a huge hiatus, but now I'm back on it doing my flash fictions. But don't worry, my flash fiction series is coming back. I'm just posting this video because I've been meaning to do it for a while. There is 14 questions, but most people can choose between question 11 or question 12. And I will have every question listed in the description along with chapters and stuff if you want to jump ahead. And actually, I'm probably also going to watch my original Authortube Newbie Tag that will be posted, yeah, in the cards. It'll be posted in the cards right here. Question 1. What is your book's pitch? And if you have multiple, pick your favorite. My book, I think the most fleshed out, because I do have multiple. My first manuscript has 70,000 words on it, and I'm actually in the process of querying that. Well, I did query, stopped, did pitch wars, didn't get a call back. Now I'm going to query again. So whenever that happens, it's on my to-do list. That one's going out, and that pitch, just because it's more fleshed out than the second manuscript, which I'm going through my first draft on, that manuscript is only 30,000 words. Yeah, and it's rare. Okay, so the pitch of the first manuscript is it's a dark women's fiction where a woman has to face the demons of her childhood, where she was not only a victim. I'll leave it at that. Oh man, I came up with that on the fly. Sweet, moving on. Question 2. If you were a book, how would you pitch yourself? Oh boy. I would say the first thing that pops in my head of how I would pitch myself is a comedy of errors, where I find the humor in the dark side of life. Yeah, I think that would be a good pitch of myself. That actually sounds more like a tagline, like if I was a movie poster, what the big thing is, finding humor in the dark side of life. I don't know. It could work. Don't judge me. Question 3. What do you usually write? God, I don't feel like I'm in a specific genre, or I do usually write adult fiction. I will at least give myself that category. But I also feel that most of my writing is very character driven. So, and it's dialogue heavy too. And that's something I got to work on, but it's also not necessarily a bad thing. I'll go with that. But that's what I usually write. Question 4 that I'm recording after the fact because I skipped it. What is something you'll never write? I don't like to say never on writing because I didn't think I would write sci-fi and I wrote sci-fi. I didn't think I'd write it all and I finished a book in a month. I mean, never say never, but I will say this. I don't think I will ever write a story in another language than English. English is my primary language, and I have tried to learn other languages, and I've gotten a little bit better over the years, but I am nowhere near fluent. I got enough to like order food and ask for directions, and that's about it. And that's enough for me, but I don't think I'll ever write a story. You have to know so much about another culture, not just the language alone, but the idioms and especially languages that have like formal and informal. You got to know the right times to use the right words. I don't think I'll ever write in another language. I will probably write a horror suspense. Actually, I've done it. I've done just about almost every single genre through my flash fictions. Except nonfiction. I haven't done a nonfiction yet, but I'm sure that could come across my page one of these days. So, never say never, except when it comes to another language. I don't know. I could surprise myself and I would happily prove myself wrong. What's your goal for starting an Authortube channel? I think my goal is really just sharing my experience, and hopefully it just gives everyone another lens to look at writing through, another avenue to do writing through. I feel that most of the authors on Authortube, WriterTube, whatever you want to call it, I feel most of them are very experienced, whereas I am not. I kind of just picked this up during the pandemic. Yes, I did a lot of writing when I was a kid, but picking it up during the pandemic and starting to cultivate it and actually tried to make it grow, that has taught me a few things that maybe I think other authors, it's become second nature to them. And I'm share my experiences because it's kind of a reminder to maybe any other newbies out there that are kind of trying to just make things work, to kind of realize that it's okay that you don't have all the answers and that it's not second nature yet, because it's not second nature to me yet. Also, a lot of the Authortubers I saw were stay-at-home moms or didn't have kids. Maybe they could write full-time, whereas me, I have a full-time job and I'm a mom and I like to write. So I'm a little bit slow on the uptake when it comes to getting things done. And I'm actually surprised that I can do YouTube at all. But luckily, with my flash fiction series, I'm able to tie the YouTube and writing together, and it's given me a good confidence boost too. I will say that. But that's kind of why I joined Authortubes, because I didn't see anyone exactly like me. I saw someone being a mom, and I saw someone having a job, but I didn't see both along with writing. So voila, Natalie Luck was created. Question 6, what made you start writing? I'd say the ideas. Really, like I always thought I felt creative in different ways, whether it was through writing lyrics when I was like a teenager, or I even drew up an entire fairy coven and everyone had a backstory, and I did the layout of their house that was in a circular, like it was in a tree trunk and it was multiple stories. Like I had a full layout story and everything. So I feel like writing and creativity has always been a part of me. And it's just the pandemic, I finally just bubbled over and it came out. So I think that's kind of what made me start writing, is that it finally just broke free. Question 7, what is your publishing path? Like self-published, traditional, hybrid, what have you? For me personally, traditional. I do have a video posted here that explains why I was on the fence of going traditional or not and what made me choose traditional. So it was just something that works for me. I love anybody who publishes in any way, shape, or form, because it is such like a big step. It's like a solidifying step, like stepping into wet cement and knowing your impression is gonna always be there step when you publish. And I have so much respect for those who do publish, and I hope to join the ranks of you one of these days. For me personally, the traditional route. Question 8, what do you bring to the Authortube table? I think what I bring is a mixture of somebody who's also a mom and a full-time employee trying to make writing work, as well as being kind of new but not new to the whole setup. I feel I also bring a fresh pair of eyes of what other people have done as second nature. For me, I had to learn again. It was like walking all over again. I had to learn it, and I share my learning and my thoughts with everyone. And one of my biggest contenders, and I feel I kind of finally found my niche, is critiquing yourself, because I think that's the hardest thing. Trying to find what is good, because the story is always good. I will say that I truly believe any story, any premise is good. It's just trying to find the right lens to tell it through. And that's where being able to properly critique yourself and being able to take the critiques of your beta readers, critique partners, and sensitivity readers if you need them. I feel like the critique side of the house that's my bread and butter. It's becoming. And I'm not saying I'm an expert, but it's where my passion is. And that's what I bring to the table. Number 9, what is your biggest writing struggle? Mine is the environment. I tend to, by being dialogue heavy in my writing, I tend to have white room syndrome or talking head syndrome, where my characters, and even also actually, let me add this one in, even at what I like to call look who's talking, where I have characters talking back and forth, but at some point the reader doesn't know who's saying what. So I definitely have that issue in my writing. But upside, question 10, what is your best writing skill? I think my best writing skill is dialogue. That honest truth, what people are saying. And I will, when I say dialogue, I'm also including those internal thoughts, because I love it. I love it in a story where one character says, yeah, that sounds great. But in their head, what you see in italics is, I will never do that in my life. I love that type of what we say one thing and what we're thinking is another, give and take. There's options of question 11 or question 12. I'm going with question 11, but you can see question 12 down below. Question 11 is, if you've been on Authortube for a while, what's your best Authortube tip? And I'd honestly say the best tip I got is, don't compare yourself to anyone. Just do what you love, and people may follow. And even if it's 3 people, 2 people, 1 person, they follow. And if you don't have anybody follow you, the thing is that you're getting better. You're reiterating these stories and trying something new, and you're gonna get better. You are your best follower because you are learning how to public speak. You are learning how to formulate stories, how to fine-tune those stories, how to whittle them down to even a single line pitch. You are getting better yourself, and you don't need a follower to get better. And I think we all do this. We compare ourselves to each other, and not even negatively. Like, you cheer your friends on and you're glad that they are getting followers and their live streams have more people in the chat than yours. But at the same time, you also want that for yourself. But it's okay, because what I like about the Authortube community is the people in the chat and the people putting videos out there. It's all subjective. Writing is subjective. There is not one story out there that everyone in the world loves. There is not one video out there that everyone in the world loves. Everyone has a critique of how to make it better. But also, everyone gains something, gains knowledge from that video, from that story. And by having that, knowing that you bring just a tiny difference to what already exists, a new lens even, like such as a retelling of Cinderella or something, it's a new lens, it brings something. And so with that, my best advice is, don't compare yourself to anyone except your past self, because you want to be able to say you've done better over the years, over the days, over the months, over the weeks, what have you. Question 13, are you looking for new channels to follow, beta readers, critique partners, sensitivity readers? Make sure you mention it and have people comment on your video so that if they are looking for the same thing, so people can find each other. For me personally, I would love to find someone who is open to reading a dark women's fiction, because I have triggers in that story. If anybody's open to consuming the media of something very dark and could be triggering for some, DM me on Instagram and I will connect you and give you the Google Doc or a PDF, whatever you need. In question 14, what are you most excited for in this new fresh start to Authortube? I think I'm most excited for reconnecting with old friends, making new friends, and just breathing. I kind of rushed myself before. I think I got over my head, and then I just stopped, where I didn't stop writing, but keeping up with the writing, keeping up with Authortube kind of got into trouble with me, and I wasn't able to, along with the full-time job. But I think now I found balance, I'm finding my peace, and I'm willing, as Authortube has accepted me so far, come back into the fold. Now, in regards to my original newbie tag, I watched it. I haven't changed much. I talked about the content that I would be giving to Authortube, and I said just my experience. I would be sharing my experience, not that I'm any law or rule to follow. Just here's how I experienced it. Try the bits and pieces from it if you wish. No pressure. And that works. I said kind of a vlog, not a vlog. Kind of what we've been doing. And then the other thing I said was how right now I write in women's fiction, and I said I also wanted to go traditional publishing, so that hasn't changed from the original tag. And yeah, I haven't changed much. Still me. Still Natalie Locke. I did enjoy watching how I stumbled upon Authortube, though, in the first place. And I think it was just me researching how to publish. And then it was all these videos of things you should know before you publish. And then I got from there. And that was really enjoyable. And I'm happy that I stumbled upon those videos. And I'm very grateful to all the Authortubers who've put themselves out there and shared their experiences, because it helped me. And I will definitely dedicate my first book, along with my mother, to Authortube if I get published, because I needed help with it, and having that guided help just by looking through stories through your own lenses was very beneficial. Thank you. I know you're supposed to tag people with these videos. I always feel uncomfortable tagging people, surprisingly enough, because I'm very outgoing, but at the same time I'm not. So don't feel comfortable tagging anyone, but I do wish for everyone to have a good day, a good week, a good month, and a good year.